Welcome to the first ever streamed VOD review. It's gonna be the exact same as a normal VOD review, but you can actually have the
It's
VOD now.
but yay.
I had a student a while ago who asked
gonna
to
be the
like,
exact same as a
oh
normal
fuck, I
VOD
need to
review,
mute my
but
stream now. You can actually have the
It's
VOD now.
but
Oh, there we go. That was my own voice echoed through and it gave me a heart attack.
monk ass.
Anyway, I had a student who asked to like record the session. He's like, "Is it okay if I record it?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course it's okay."
I was actually gonna like ask you and do that because I was kind of a bit afraid to ask, but at the same time I wanted it as a reference as like if I ever want to go back to like, okay, this VOD, I've kind of forgot some stuff. Now I can kind of review.
Yeah, like the other thing too is I talk a ton. So at the end of sessions, I normally type up a long notes page for students to like go back to, and that's
All
nice
right.
so they can use it in conjunction with the VOD. But it's better to just have this. Like
Yeah.
it solves so many problems. Plus, I'm kind of close to Twitch affiliate, and it'd be kind of cool to just be like, hey, I can get
Yo,
some extra streams going. Might as
I'll
well.
hit you up that I'll hit you up that follow and auto host B.
Dude, if you follow, you can test out the new like follower notifications too.
I don't want to lag because I don't want to fuck up anything. I'll do it after.
Yeah, whatever. It's good enough. You can do it while I'm doing the other student. How about that?
Sure.
Uh,
Pog.
I think he's having me coach like his Anna gameplay. I don't know. I don't know what the deal with that is. Anyway, before we get into your gameplay here, is there anything that you were doing, that your team was doing, or that the enemy team was doing that was giving you a particularly hard time?
Not really. I think like this game I played, I think I was a bit pressured because it was the first time it was gonna be really more than me or more than just somebody I was like usually hang out with, like because like we played some games, but you're still like pretty new,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think kind of the pressure I think really made me think, okay, I wanna because in my mind, like I had this anxiety that I was gonna come off worse than I actually was, and so I had some kind of pressure while I was recording this. Like, okay, I don't want to be too flashy, but at the same time, like I want the coach to know that, like, I don't want the coach to think like, oh, like I underperformed on this VOD, so like I must be. I'm not as good as I don't know. I'm just weird.
No, I'm not judgmental. Don't worry about that. Like whenever I get a student's VOD, like I have seen everything there is to see pretty much from a VOD. Like I had one student who was just blasting death metal. Like I had a student
Jesus.
where the VOD was 144p and I couldn't see anything. Like when you said the VOD was blurry, I was like, it's okay. I've had blurry VODs to the point where I was looking like down at the Genji portrait, or they were playing Tracer, and it was on Junkertown too. They were playing Tracer, and I couldn't tell like what rank they were because it was so blurry. Like I couldn't tell how
Uh,
many blinks they had at any one point, or like what their ammo count was. Oh, it was so bad. At one
oh
point, I
my
think I
God.
mistook like a baby diva for a roadhog because I was just like, that's where a roadhog should be, but no, it was baby diva.
I want to see that. I want to see how you mistake Baby Diva for
I
Roadhog.
can see if I can
I
try and find the
I
VOD, but
you got to send me that shit after. I actually want to see it.
it was a hell of a game, dude. And like I couldn't tell where they were tracking, like how close they were, because like Roadhog's about this big, Baby Diva's also about this big. It's about a 3 pixel difference. Like, oh. So
Jeez.
anyway, the problems you were having were like nerves. Do you ever get those nerves when you're just queuing up in general, or is it only the fear of somebody watching you?
Sometimes when I'm near my peak, I have a bit of ranked anxiety, but I usually get over it.
Okay, it doesn't
Um,
keep you from playing for like days and days.
no, it makes no. I typically play about 1 or 2 games every day. Sometimes, usually I try to do more, but other days I'm kind of hesitant because solo queue is a big gamble, and especially in the SR range I'm in right now, uh, I'm kind of just secretly one trick and Brig.
So in terms of like worrying like that, uh, the ranked anxiety when you get close to your peak, that's totally normal. The thing that I was most interested in is the fact that you said you only play like 2 games a day. I don't know
uh,
about you, but like when I start playing, it takes me more than 2 games to get like actually warmed up, even after warming up.
well,
So,
typically it's really dependent. Like 2 games is kind of rare. I do tend to play more, but it's just really dependent on my mood and.
mhm.
Uh, I used to play a lot more earlier seasons, but I guess it's just harder for me now to consistently play a lot because between kind of like the pressure that the team gives me sometimes between kind of being hesitant and stuff, like it's not like I'm always underperforming, but I have like a fear that I'm underperforming, and that makes me underperform. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. So in terms of the underperforming thing, there's not. That's just like a mentality thing. Once after the end of the VOD review, you might be a little more confident because then you'll at least know when you're underperforming because you'll look at your gameplay and you'll be like, okay, you'll be able to see when you're messing up. But the
Yeah,
point isn't to get you to be like, oh, I fucked up there, I fucked up here. The point is to be like, what can you do in the future to not fuck up, and what can you add that like counters the fuck ups by being really good. So
definitely.
I'm gonna.
Yeah,
Hmm?
yeah. I know there's definitely some parts in here where I was looking back on the VOD and I was trying not to laugh at myself, dude. Like, oh, some of my positioning errors. Oof.
Yeah. So I'll get into the little VOD thing. You saw me like drawing down over here in the corner.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
This Mayhem is super cool. Have you seen Mayhem before?
Yeah, like I said, I was looking at videos from the coach, and then I saw how expensive his sessions were.
Yeah. No. Paid coaching is interesting, but
Dude, 75 euros. Like what?
like the best part is just being able to do that. It's like, oh, I can do anything I want to do on this. I can, whatever. You've seen it before. You know how it works.
Yeah, it's
I'll
pretty
just
good.
we'll just get into it. We've been
Alrighty, here
dilly-dallying.
we have me conversing with my team and basically kind of like a team bitching about ranked, and so it was great.
Whatever. Wait, did you pop up like what your team comp was?
No,
Oh,
I didn't
we got it
really.
for a second
I was
there.
yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
I'm like constantly doing that.
Okay. Well, at least you pressed tab. That's good. Okay. So, I think I might know Nick actually. Anyway. Okay. So your team is pretty much completely immobile except for you. So you need to be aware of that. Like, what I'm expecting to happen is at some point you're gonna go in and then your team's not gonna be able to follow you and then you're gonna die.
That's exactly what happens.
Okay. Okay. Sweet. That's looking at this comp, that's bound to happen. So you're gonna want to play. You're gonna want to be playing Genji basically like you play Tracer, which I'll explain. There's like this whole explanation I go through. I have to say it in pretty much every VOD, but I'll explain it when it actually happens so you can get the visual for what's going on. But it basically boils down to because your entire team is going to be working as a unit and you're basically split off from them most of the time, you cannot be the only thing the enemy team is going to be worried about. So like you'll notice if you go in 1v6, you're going to die instantly. And knowing when it's going to be 1v6 is the key thing.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
that
So, what were you going to say about that?
I was just about to say there was points in this VOD where I know I completely goofed.
So, you do the right thing of not going for the Roadhog. The first thing is it's between left click and right click usage. This is left click range. This Hanzo, you should be trying to left click him instead of right clicking him. Right clicking range is like if you took this Roadhog body and moved him to like there, that's right click range because ideally right click is a little bit faster and that's about it. But it's more inaccurate. So you only want to use it when you're landing at least 2 out of the 3 shurikens because if you're only landing the middle one, then you might as well have just thrown 3 in a burst and hit 2 or 3, So,
Yeah, it was kind of an in the moment thing because I noticed both and I was like, oh shit, who's after me? And then the Ana slept him, so it was kind of just reaction.
yeah, it should be second nature to the point where you don't need to choose between it. But if you're used to right clicking at this range, it'll take some getting used to, especially if you're not used to
Yeah.
like tracking in general. Right there, when you've gotten the habit of right click dashing, which is good. You should do it, pretty much whenever as long as you have the ammo to. But where your dash puts you, it almost like I can tell it disorients you a bit because you lose the Hanzo during his leap.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but humans react faster to auditory cues than they do to visual ones. So I lost the Hanzo too when you turned around, but I heard him leap and I can tell based on where he was, where he's leaping to. He'd either leap for this doorway, which he's clearly not there, or up over the fence. So you check, see a few frames of him not in the door, and then you look over here for him, which is basically what you do, but you click before you look for him. So it's like if you get into the habit of right click dashing right click, you're going to end up like clapping yourself more than you're going to end up clapping the enemy because you need to make sure that your right click actually hits because if your right click misses, then you're spending 2 right clicks to get 1 right click's worth of value because this first one misses. So take a few like milliseconds to line it up, and then get one in, and you save. You spend this amount of time instead of this amount of time.
Alrighty.
And the more you do
Yeah.
that, the faster you'll get at recognizing where they're at. So it'll seem like you're just doing it out of habit.
Alrighty, I'll try to get that. I'm glad you're streaming this because I'm gonna have to review it a few times because, see, like, I remember we were on the forums talking about like the Spanish thing. Like when I'm like getting relayed so much information, it takes me like a few repeats to get my brain to fully process.
Yeah.
This one I wasn't really sure who to target on this.
When you said get the Zen,
a misclick.
yeah, I figured that was a misclick. But when you said get the Zen, that's right. Your target priority should be the Zenyatta. But the problem right now is here. We'll pull up our. We're not typing. We'll pull up our overhead view here. The problem is that you're going all the way around the super long side, and this is like Widow territory, right? Like all of this is Widow. I need to get a little like drawing tablet so I can draw. But that's Widow, and then like Tracer and Genji work best over here because the enemies generally come out this door down here, and then they filter out this way. So if you come through either this little door right here or around this little staircase thing, then you're initiating in close range, which is where you want to be. But where you're at right now by this health pack, if you're trying to hit a Zenyatta who's standing right here, it's super open and he can move anywhere. Like he's not moving for any predictable cover, so you can't predict that. So take the close range. Don't go super mega flank. Your target priority is good. Going for the Zenyatta is who you should go for. He's a super easy target for Genji and Tracer, but again, you're spending more time having to go around and poke. Like if we go back, you'll see as soon as you pop out, you don't really know who you're going for, and you don't even really know who you're aiming for.
Yeah.
It's an open wasteland, right? But if and we've got a better example. If you were in this area, then it's a lot easier for you, right? Because you're looking out of this sight line or like this huge sight line, which isn't as good of an example. But basically, now that they've pushed back to behind this line, think of this as the little arena you're in, and all of this other area doesn't really matter because it doesn't. Like nobody's out there. If they had a Widow, it'd be different. But I don't think they do. They've only got a Hanzo so far, if they even have that. I can't tell who that is. I think
just to explain my reasoning, so like kind of I don't know. I figure if I explain why I did something, it helps kind of me learn. Was because what happens is like the reason I went through the health pack was because I didn't think I was going to be able to kind of go in like that, and I didn't think I was going to be able to do the most. I wanted that extra survivability near me, so that way in case like if I was going around for the flank and I got low fast, I could get a second chance and then pop back out.
I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't know if you saw me drawing that.
I know. And then I realized that after, but it was just kind of like what came to me first. Cause
Now, when I said like don't go over here because it's super open, what I meant like going this way isn't necessarily the worst thing ever. You're still engaging, which is good. You're still moving forward. What I was worried about is when you were poking back over by the cars, I was worried you just stay there and poke. The fact that you're moving up and using this cover is really good. I've seen a lot of students just like follow the payload, and then they're pushing forward super slowly, and it's battle around. But because you're like hopscotching between cover here, you're at least closing in on them, and then you're getting to this little arena anyway. Because the end goal is to get to this arena, right? If you go through this building, you get to it faster. But if you go around this way, you get more time to think it out. So like plus the Orisa seeing a Genji way over there, she now knows that this side is no longer open, so she can't just place her shield like this, right? She needs to place it like she has, so that she protects herself. But she's now open from this side if one of your teammates wants to come in, etc., etc. So it's not, in my opinion, optimal the way you went, but you could have done a lot worse.
It was
for
a plan.
Yeah, which I'm glad you mentioned plan because it's the exact word. Let's see what happens here first. Okay, so for dash like that, dashing before the enemy is going to be killed by the dash is okay, but not when it's a target like Roadhog that can heal himself up, because if he now heals, then your dash is now gone, and you are now completely without an escape with 3 of the enemies around you, right?
Yeah.
If you were doing it on a Zenyatta, where you go like right-click, dash, right-click, melee, that's okay. Because then you can just wombo combo that really quickly, and it's super efficient. But with Roadhog, where it's a lot of right-clicking, then a dash somewhere in there, then right-clicking, then meleeing, like, it doesn't really work out, and this dash doesn't need to be there. It's better to do it at the end, and so it's like melee, you know, do all that, and then dash at the end, because then it secures it. Use it as burst, because that's basically what it is. It's not a whole lot of burst in the context of a Roadhog, but it's pretty much the only burst you have other than deflecting him. So
Yeah, what I struggle with is kind of like with my dash, you're gonna notice here like it was kind of meant as like both like extra damage, but at the same time, like I didn't realize the bars. Like a lot of the times when I'm going against like high HP, I can't really tell like if he's low enough bars or not, and that's what kind of really messes me up.
yeah, with Roadhog, you can't really count his bars. He's like right now we can see that he's like 2 and a bit or 1 and a bit. You don't need to be counting that per se, but you just need to be keeping track of, okay, is he low enough now? Is he low enough now? Just guesstimate it. If you're off by a bar or so, then just finish it off with a melee. But your dash shouldn't be used. Like, when you used it, if we go back, you might not know when he's low exactly, but you should know that that isn't going to kill him. If your right click, I can't tell if your right click hit the floor or not, but if you put in, if you put in one more right click, then he would have been dead for sure. Especially now, like with the Zen over here, you can use your dash to, since you know, even if the Zen wasn't here, you know that this doorway is where the enemies are going to be coming from. So try and preserve your dash for as long as you can, because then you can chain it to dash through as many people as you can and get maximum value. Either dash through 2 people with 1 dash, or dash through 1, go to the next, or dash through 1, like dash down to the next and then over to the other with like ghost dashes. You know, it's super open. But don't waste it.
Okay, so I think this is coming up on where I fucked up again. So I got really overconfident with the McCree, and then I thought I could finish it. And then I got punished.
So we'll talk about this real quick. So again, using your dash, you use it as an instigator here, which using dash as an instigator is okay, but not in this scenario because you don't know what's on the other side. You could have dashed up and there could have been like 4 people right here. You don't know that. All you know is that there's a McCree. And with the McCree, if you notice, your deflect is still like being worked on here. Let me see how close it is to coming off cooldown when you dash up. I know it's close. Okay, so you notice how there was that whole time there where he could have just flashbanged you instantly?
Yeah.
You basically just presented yourself spread eagle to him. So if you came up and he stunned you, you would have no dash, assuming he for some reason doesn't kill you with his stun, which he should. But if he doesn't kill you, you then have no dash and you still have to wait. You know, by the time you're unstunned, you have deflect, but then you're in crunch time to land your deflect. Otherwise, you're dead. You don't want to be in a scenario where your survivability depends on the enemy hitting you and then you hitting them with the shot that they hit you with, you know?
Yeah, got you.
You're using them in the wrong order. You should use deflect first and then dash, basically. Plus, you can just wall climb up there.
Yeah, it was really a matter of being a bit too overconfident here. Because I saw that McCree was low, and then as soon as I dashed up, I realized, wait a second, you know, I should have been a bit more aware.
Yeah, like when you said plan earlier, you had one there, which is good, and you sort of had one here, which is good, but you need to work on having a plan B or a plan that extends further in time than you currently are thinking. Like you're thinking, okay, go up, kill the McCree, that's good. Again, with the dash, he's low now, but he can still flashbang you here. You should be able to kill him. Okay, yeah, so you still killed him, but there's a more elegant way to do it, which would just be, you know, see where he is first. Like, now that he's seen you, you can drop like that, or you can deflect first. In this scenario, deflect order and dash order isn't as important because he's still already low, or you get him low with this. So, you know, wait for the dash to go through. Let's see. When you deflect, you should still try and track as if you're expecting to hit him. Because right there, it looked like you deflected just to block the flash. I don't know if you just lost track of him or if you were just going for the
tracking.
Okay. Then it depends. You should know what you're expecting to deflect and try and aim it accordingly. If you're just trying to survive, you should still try and aim whatever you're deflecting back at somebody. Because, you know, make use of your abilities as optimally as you can. Okay. Again with the deflect seeming to lose people. So we'll do this blade again. I can't tell who you're
blade.
shooting at there. No, ACAM blade's just, you've gotten a blade. It's better than ACAM blade. So hitting the car is kind of an oof. You could have avoided that by just being safer with your dash. Like, let's see where you're dashing to. Yeah, so right here, you should be able to see that there's like this smokestacky thing. At least I'm pretty sure that that's in the game and it's not just the pixels.
Yeah.
But there's a smokestacky thing that'll block you. Also, you're only going in on what you can tell are two people right now. Whoever you're shooting at on the stairs and this Orisa, which, you know, isn't a bad blade. But again, you haven't pressed tab recently, so you don't know who's respawning. So when Roadhog comes out of there, that could have been Roadhog, that could have been Roadhog and two other people you don't know. And because you're dashing right in front of this door, you're kind of giving them a drive-by so that, hey, they know Genji's over here, or, you know, when you hit this thing, Genji's right in front of you.
Yeah, and I feel like right here I probably should have prioritized the Orisa instead.
Yeah, prioritize whoever you can kill first. Again, Roadhog is just, what you did right there was pretty much waste your blade on the Roadhog, and that's exactly what he wanted, because not only is he just body blocking, but he's body blocking without having to sacrifice ult charge, because you're using your ult on him. Like, you're not gaining anything out of it other than some damage done stats. Like, that's it. Meanwhile, you could have killed the Orisa or whatever squishy was out over there. I don't know if they were even over there. I couldn't see.
No, I got the Moira there.
Okay, sweet. I wasn't paying attention to who you got. I was paying attention to the Roadhog. Also, when you deflect, again, it seems like you're better at tracking. You still seem to lose people close range, like the Hanzo and the McCree. But especially when you deflect, it seems like you kind of lose it. I don't know if that's just been because you're trying to deflect like close range hit scan in sense of the McCree, or like close range basically hit scan because you're so close with Roadhog. Just get used to trying to track close range like that. You're also very twitchy. You aim in Genji the same way I do with your right clicks, which is where you over flick all the time. Do you do aim training at all?
No, I've kind of just really just been playing the game. I have aim hero, but I haven't really figured out settings, and I don't want to really fuck myself up.
You will. It's like saying you don't want to go to the gym because you don't want to pull a muscle. It's like,
no, but it's because like I didn't know exactly how to configure my settings, and I don't want to get just to that.
Yeah, no, okay, that's fair, because aim hero is weird. Like, Overwatch judges FOV by horizontal degrees. Aim hero does it by vertical degrees. So it's like it has to be like 72 or something instead of 103. But anyway, that's a reasonable thing. But I suggest you, now that you know, to start doing some of that, because
Yeah, I'll figure some of that out.
yeah, it's
I heard that the best setting, really the only good setting, is like the flicking one.
I don't use the flicking one, mostly because you're basically presented with a blank board with your cursor supposed to be there, and something just randomly appears, and you have to flick to it. And 99.9% of the time in Overwatch, nothing just randomly appears. Like if it was just like, whoa, suddenly there's a Roadhog there. It's like, no, I should have known that he was there, and I can plan for it.
But I like it because it would build my reactions more, and I feel like if I were to work on that, that might affect kind of my Genji tracking, because with my Genji tracking, it seems like I track it a bit too slow, or like I'm not fast enough to react to when they're moving.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can play around in the modes. I personally don't like that mode, but I know that I'm in the minority. So if you give it a go and you end up liking it, just roll with it. If it's working for you, then it's working for you. It's a very personal thing.
I'm open to any suggestions, though.
Yeah, I can PM you later and be like, here's what I use, yada yada. But as long as
you're gonna have to write an essay here.
Yeah, as long as you use it, you should be better off.
Yeah, I kept spamming I need healing because I didn't know where my healers were.
Yeah, you can look around. Like right here, you're only looking at the payload. You could have caught that very well, maybe.
I didn't want to look behind me because typically, sometimes when I do that, all of a sudden enemies behind me. Oops.
Well, not behind you, but like just look to your left to see if they're catching up with you, like coming back from bad spawn over to payload, instead of.
Yeah, I wasn't confident enough.
It's not a major thing, but you would have known the Moira was there. Again, that first one was probably left click range instead of right click range. There's the moment where I said you need to wait for your team. Notice how the cart is still right here, and people are still responding. Like, your Ana just died, your Moira is just catching up. I don't see anybody in this spawn, and you haven't pressed tab, so I don't know who's respawning. So basically, you're going in completely alone, potentially an Orisa with you. Again, right there, you dashed in as an engage, but you have absolutely no idea what's on the other side.
Yeah,
So,
I realized that instantly after too. It was a dumb move by me.
yeah.
See, the problem is I can never find this balance between overconfident plays and underconfident plays.
Well, this isn't an issue of confidence. This is an issue of decision making, right? However confident you
Yeah,
are
I
that
mean,
you're going to
like,
kill that Hanzo isn't important. Whether or not there's going to be enemies here is important, and that's not an issue of confidence. That's an issue of you should press tab, see who's respawning. Like if you see 3 people dead on the enemy team, and it's like 3 squishies, go for it. Like the worst that can happen is you can figure out what those 3 squishies are, and then be like, okay, if it's McCree, Zenyatta, and like I don't know, whoever this is, I can't tell who that is from here. But if it's Hanzo, okay, if it's just those 3, then okay, maybe go for it, like you did. But you need to know that, so you know what you're getting into. Like this Ana thing from way back there, so basically got 4 people now. It's 4v1. Not likely. Roadhog's there too. 5v1 now. Like you're dead. There's Zenyatta. Like everything will clap you there. So
and that's where I look back on this to kind of see. Honestly, if it wasn't for the 2 hero limit, I would have like switched like Hanzo, but I knew I was gonna have to play Tracer later. Like,
again, left click range there.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm looking back at some of these, and it's kind of like why did I do that?
Yeah, that's a lot of what coaching is, honestly. Like people are like, oh, I can't watch back my own VODs because I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm like, dude, I promise you, if you watch it back, you'll be able to tell where you mess up. Like if you do it enough.
Yeah, the coaching definitely helps though.
Yeah. So right here, what I'm gonna point out is, I don't know why you'd be right in the middle here, looking right down this super long sightline with no cover. Like your cover is this archway. You're not using it. You're just standing in the open. You shouldn't do that. You should, if you decide to poke down there at the Zenyatta who's here, whatever, be at least close to cover. You're way far back from it, so you can't scoot forward and hug it. And eventually, you move out in the middle where you're literally completely exposed to everything, except for somebody up on this high ground, like on the rotatey thing. But like at this point, you've made an error because there's so many better spots you could be. You could be over here. You could be over by the car. You could be chilling up on this area up here. Be chilling on the other side of the billboard up there. You could go all the way around and go through this like window thing. You could go through the door thing. You could go through the other door thing. So many different ways that all avoid the really long sightline and the entire enemy team. Also, when you get to the point where you're trying to go away, were you trying to dash there or were you just walking?
I was just gonna get out.
Okay, well if you aren't planning on dashing, then you should still be poking while you disengage instead of turning your side like that, because even if you died, you could have gotten 1 or 2 shurikens off, which could be important. Like for your McCree, he might be able to 2-tap somebody then. Like it's all the little micro stuff. That wouldn't be game winning by any means, but it wouldn't hurt certainly.
Yeah, that was a shitty deflect.
It wasn't that bad. I've seen worse. So right here, you're playing really passively. Your team is now pushed in. You've had deflect, I think. Let's see.
90%.
Yeah, deflect's up now.
Yeah, that was. I just heard it, kind of freaked out a bit.
You know, he jumped the gun early. It's all right. Just be aware of your abilities. Basically, it seems like you play really passively for the most part. Like, I haven't seen you really engage on anybody that you do stuff like this. Like, you engage with your dash, and that's it. You play really passively with your general positioning, and then you wait for dash, and you use that as your gap closer. Do you play Tracer at all?
I do play Tracer a bit later in this. I
mean, just like generally in your gameplay.
Now and then.
Okay. Are you the type of Tracer to use 2 or 3 blinks to engage on somebody?
I have a bad habit of that, yes.
Yeah, okay. So your positioning is really passive until you've got a movement ability, then it's really aggressive, and then you have no escape. So again, use your dash. Like right here, if you would have dashed through that tunnel, that would have been a really bad example, a really good example of bad dash. Like, your dashes to people are generally not what you want to do unless you're able to chain it. It's like, you know, you want to be able to get a kill with your first dash, and then you can use them as mobility.
Nice, guys. Give that pretty good.
You said it's an hour. Are we gonna have time?
Oh, yeah. No, I've got...
Uh,
Sessions are basically an hour, but we spent a lot of time in the beginning, and, you know,
yeah.
like, other students I've had, they'll see that we're in here, and they'll be okay with it. I've never had a student be like, you're spending too much time with another one.
You
Mostly
gotta give
good.
me attention, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. If I also know that my next student is like, hang on, let me check my schedule while this is going. He's about an hour and a half from now, so I've got plenty of time. Also, I need to check the notifications from this if I can at some point, because somebody followed a while ago, but I didn't see who it was, and it's really bothering me that I like didn't.
MA streamer.
Hey, I literally got it working last night. Cut me some slack. It took way too long.
Plot chat stream.
Plat gameplay stream.
Yeah, plat chat stream, Diamond Smurf, and Grandmaster.
Okay, so with your positioning here, why did you decide to pick Tracer on first point?
I wanted to get some Tracer in because
Okay.
I knew there was some decent flanks, and I just thought I'd try it.
Okay, I hope they have like a Widow or Pharah that just like shits on you or something, so I can
Wow,
talk about like
talk-
proper positioning. But you know, first point Junkertown isn't exactly what I think of when I think of Tracer. But you know,
It's
you
just
can make it
something
work.
that happened.
You can make it work when they push past this like first corner bit. See, all right, so we're already down to one blink, one and basically two. You're almost at your second. So blinks, you can use them for mobility, but that comes with a huge asterisk of only use them for mobility when you know you're not going to engage, so that you can wait for them to recharge. And if you do decide to use them for mobility, make sure you actually use them, like to the point where you always engage with two or more. If you engage with one, see, we got one. Hey, it's X3. Nice you. I'll have you at some point. That's another student. Have I scheduled with you yet? I don't know. We'll find out. See, I caught it that time. Anyway, for blinks, always have at least two when you engage, whether you use that for mobility or you're transitioning from target to target, or you know, you're coming off of a recall, something like that. You need to make sure, because if you engage with one blink, you're then going to use that blink very quickly, because people often use their first blink way too soon, and then you're not able to use a second or third blink until the forever long cooldown lets you. And then you just do what I call like the desperation wiggle, which happens on Tracer and Genji, which is where you have no blinks, no recall, no blinks, no recall, or dash, I should say. And you just kind of like wiggle your crosshair back and forth, because you're like, oh, what do I do? Like, you can't go anywhere. You'll end up doing that, and I hope you do it at some point, because it's always funny.
Careful out there.
So right now, first of all, I don't know what the point of crouching and then blinking is. Crouching makes
Crouch.
I mean, tactical crouch makes you walk quieter, but then blinking is a lot louder than walking. So
Yeah, I don't know what to call it.
you're not exactly reaping the benefits of it. But the other thing too is, you just spent, actually, let's see how long it is. So 346, we'll actually start right here. So 350, we'll say, is when the clock starts on this this big flank and stank.
Let's go, coach.
So that was 10 seconds of a flank to get up to this bridge. You could have done that a lot faster, I'll admit. What you also could have done is gone below you, dealt with whatever was going on there, and then just go up these stairs. You'd be surprised how often people don't actually look like right behind them. You don't need to always block line of sight with them. Just like, because this Zen, there's a whole giant map in front of him. He's not exactly going to be listening for a quiet Tracer behind him, especially if you don't blink. Then you can basically do what you're going to do here, which is, wait, hang on. How fast was that recall there? I think you could have gotten the one clip off. Okay, so right there.
It's reflexive for the McCree flash.
Yeah. So, so you're up there, you're going for the one clip, you then blink and then recall. So you use a blink that you don't need to, and then you recall. What I can't tell is whether you meant to commit to recalling or commit to blinking. Which one was it?
no idea.
Okay, it was just one of them.
One of them.
Committing to getting out of there. Okay, so okay, we're gonna I guess just go back around. Again, there's your double blink to engage. You're down to 1. You don't necessarily know what's over here. Like, I haven't seen you look over this way. I don't know what's over there. All I know is directly what's in your cone of vision, and that's a problem. With Genji and Tracer especially, you need as much awareness as possible. So like pressing tab, watching kill feed, looking around. Your head should be on a swivel. You shouldn't always be looking behind you per se, because you're walking one way. You don't need to check what you just walked through. Most of the time, unless you hear an audio cue. But like, if let's say there's a building here, there's like a hallway there. Like, actually, let's just do this more. Let's see. Do we have Rialto? No, we don't. Let's just say we'll do Junkertown point here. Okay, so we'll just say you're taking the straight cart path of walking all the way around. You should check down there. You should check over there. You should check over there. You should check over there. Every single point where there could be an enemy that branches from your path, you need to check there. You cannot just go all hunky-dory and just go straight down your path, because then you'll miss something. And it'll be like that point where you dash into the entire enemy team as Genji because you weren't paying attention or you didn't know. You can gather a lot of information just by minimal effort. Like there, you would have known sim turrets were there. You would have known like where your team was, whether you could have gotten health by dashing into them. So like, see, there's like the first time you've pressed tab in a while, and now you can tell like, okay, their hamster's dead. He'll be back probably by the time you're back or before. Like your main tank is down, so your team's going to be spread out super thin, and they're going to be hard to hold. So you're hard pressed to, get a crucial pick when you get back to stop the momentum. And your goal should be to kill this Zen. You started out doing that, which is good, but he should pretty much always be your first priority. However, right here, dead, probably soon to be dead, whoever's down there, if they're not already. I don't know who it is. Let's see. Okay, so there's the soon to be dead, different position, but no. Okay, good. Yeah, get out of there. Don't go in there. Don't engage with that. This, you can take this engagement. That's fine. That blink though was not fine. For blinking, you pretty much only want to blink when you're engaged with somebody, when you're avoiding one of their abilities. So think of it like if you're 1v1ing a Roadhog, you don't want to blink every time he shoots, because then when he goes to hook you, you have no blinks. When you're 1v1ing a soldier, you don't want to blink every time you reload, because he can then helix you when you're low. Or just, helix melee you if you get too close. Same thing with like Hammond, right? When you're 1v1ing a Hammond, you pretty much never need to blink, because you can just strafe, unless you want to blink through him, which is kind of what you did. I don't know if you meant to or not. Yeah, so you're moving. Here's Hammond from a top-down view, right? Hammond's here. We'll actually make that smaller. Top-down view. Hammond's here. You're here. You're walking this way. He's walking this way. You meet right here, and then you blink. So you're now over here, and then you're playing the catch-up game, right? So you use a blink, and it puts you in a worse position. That's exactly what you don't want to do. It's like, see, if you wanted to go for that kill, you'd then have to chase him super hard and use more blinks. Again, you're always at 1 or 2. I think, no, see, you didn't even get to 3 there. Like, even for once. Are you going to hit 3? No, still not 3. Still 0. Like, all the way back here, you shouldn't be back here. This is way too deep. Tracer's classified as a flanker by pretty much everybody, but I really hate that term, because then people do stuff like this. What you should really be focusing on is taking side and off angles, because now you're split from your team. If we pull up an image of Junkertown again, we'll pull up our little point of here. Let's say payload's here, your team's here, enemy team's here, you're right here. To get to your team, you have to go through the enemy team. That's exactly what you don't want. Where you want to be instead is not back there. You'd rather be like in pretty much anywhere in this area, because that means you're in the fight, but you can also go around wherever you want. You can be behind them, or you can be on their side, or you can be in front of them. That doesn't really matter, right? Because as soon as a team fight breaks out, there isn't really a front line or a back line anymore, unless they're playing an Ana way back here, like a Widow up here. If they're running a team comp like theirs, even their Ana plays a pretty frontline Ana from what I've seen. Play these side angles the most. Like, side angles are a Tracer's best friend, because you get all the benefits of being behind them in the sense that they don't know you're there, but with all the benefits of being in the front line in the sense that your team's really close. So you don't need to make that choice. You don't need to make that not choice. What was it?
On flank.
Dude, I can't even. Compromise. There we go. Took me a second. So again, you blink into the entire enemy team. Oh, your recall. Okay, so for recall, we're gonna get. I should have kept that Junkertown thing up, because recall is the other ability that claps tracers all the time. Payload, your team, enemy team. Where you were is back here. We'll do red as bad recall. So you don't want to be back here as point 1. You don't want to go in as point 2, and then recall puts you right like in the back again as your point 3. That's a terrible 3. It's better. Because now you've used your best escape tool in the game pretty much to then put you back behind the enemy team again. What you'd rather be doing, we'll go for blue for good, is to be, I don't know, take side angle of like down here, for example. That's your point 1. You go in, that's your point 2, and then you recall, and it puts you back out as your point 3. Everything is much closer to your team. Everything is much closer to all of the safe space back here. Everything is close to the routes to then get behind again. Like whether you want to drop from above, go, on your super long flank again. All that matters is that you get those options. When you're in the red zone, you don't have any options. Your only option is to be behind them. And once you're behind them, they then know that. Like they know, okay, Tracer's behind, focus on that. Keep dealing with her until she's finally dead. But if you're on the side, it's like, well, Tracer's kind of behind, kind of on the side. You could then be fully behind. They don't know. You could then be in the front. They don't know. The more you keep them guessing, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, I think some of these blinks was all... Well, okay, so what I noticed here was that the door was, like, when I recalled, I noticed the door was closing and I did not want to get trapped.
Yeah.
So that was kind of me, like, oh shit, I'm balls deep in something I don't want to be in. And so even though it was kind of like a bad recall, like, I feel like it would have been better than me being walled off.
Yeah, recalling there was a better recall than dying. But in general, it was a bad recall, just because of where you were to begin with, like where you set your recall point, basically. So this bit right here, do you have recall? Yeah, so right here, you can throw pulse and recall, and it'll keep you alive a little bit longer. It'll be a bad recall because it'll put you behind again, but it would save your life. So once you've committed to being behind, you should still, it's not like if you come from behind, you shouldn't use recall because then it'd be a bad recall. It's better to recall and have it be bad than it is to die, because, dying's obviously worse.
In the moment, what happens when dependent in that,
But the more you get used to, like, setting your recall point, like right here, you should know if you recall... Ooh.
Had to reload on that.
Ooh.
Tracking, oh my god.
Ooh, okay, there's a lot to digest here. Okay. So, there's a lot of things going on. First of all, blink, didn't need to. Blink, didn't need to. Blink, didn't need to.
Forgets to reload.
Forgets to reload. Panic melees restarts the reload animation, so you have to reload like 16 different times. Where's the next panic blink? Okay, good recall there. Panic blink down the stairs. Panic blink to the side. Now you're on the Zen. Okay, one thing. I'm gonna stop with the panic blinking because that point should be made. Watch how you approach this Zen. Think of this from the perspective of your W, A, S, and D keys. Think about which ones you're using right now.
I can't even tell.
It's your W and S keys. You didn't strafe that Zenyatta like at all. And the thing with Zenyatta is if you walk straight at him, you are dead. As pretty much any hero. If you walk straight at anybody, you're pretty much dead. But especially as Tracer against the Zenyatta. Discord, dink dink, you're dead. So with a projectile hero like him, all you need to do is strafe just a little bit and you can generally psych him out. Because if you're... Here, we'll go back to green so you can actually see it. If you're here and you walk this way, Zen needs to aim here to then hit you as you walk into it, basically. So if we look at a top down, you're just like strafing, kind of like this, right? He has to aim like here, here, here. So he has to predict your strafe, and if you're strafing unpredictably, that's typically pretty hard. And so you can survive way longer. You could have totally killed the Zenyatta if you used your strafing, but because you're a blink reliant Tracer, you don't strafe very much, if at all. Like Tracer and Genji players were probably the worst about it because they have double jump as Genji and blink as Tracer, and so they have absolutely no strafing skills. But get used to it. Like if you
Can hang on, I know this is probably a bit far-fetched, but like, could you like maybe record something or like send me a video of like what's good strafing or not?
I'm
Because
about to give you a
my problem.
demonstration right now.
Oh, all right.
I've moved my
Hey.
mic way down to my keys, so if you can hear like, it's like fucking with the VOD, but I don't know how that sounded to you, but where even are we? So basically, think of it this way: you should go A and D in about a 1/3 second or a half second cadence. So like, if you go like 1001, like that's a really if you hit it 3 times there, if you go like ADA, like ADA, that's a really like quick strafe. That's a fake out. So you're basically going do 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 like that. That's good for faking out somebody once and twice. But once you do it, if you do it multiple times, they can just, aim straight down here and they'll get you. Or you can go like ADA, where you do it like that, or like ADA, like that. Any combination of those 3 things can leave you, basically just think of it as you have 3 separate lines. Do you want to draw a long or a short? So you can do like long, here, we'll clear it. Long, short, 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 long, like anything like that. That's so much harder to hit than just.
Yeah, and my problem is that I struggle with strafing because I understand if you just spam and makes your hitbox bigger, but at the same time, like I never know like how long I should hold down A where I'm not predictable, or how long I should hold down D.
Think of it this way: if you are well, now that we've got a third person view, it's actually kind of good. So if Zenyatta just goes like obviously he's just gonna kind of like shimmy in place, doing nothing. But if he goes from where he is now to here, that's plenty of a strafe for you as like a McCree to mess it up. Like that's enough for most McCree players to struggle on a few shots at least. If he goes like all the way over here, that's too long, and the McCree player can just track him. But if he's playing Pharah, then he can fake this way, or if you're playing Pharah, you can fake this way, and then go the other way, and then basically just dodge your projectiles. But since you're Tracer, you want to be taking a strafe that's somewhere in the happy middle ground. It depends on who you're going against. Projectile heroes, you want longer strafes to bait them. Hit scan heroes, you want to take tighter strafes because then you change direction more, and that causes them to have to readjust their aim more. But you can also throw crouching in there. One student, I think it was yesterday or the day before, asked me when to crouch when they're AD crouch spamming. And they're like, do I hit it every time I change direction? Do I hit it in between? And my answer was just like button mash that thing, because it doesn't matter. Like the enemy isn't going to notice if you're only crouching when you change direction or only crouching when you're not changing direction. The more you crouch, the more difficult you are to land a headshot on. And that's all that matters. By the way, don't bother crouching like against a diva or anything like that doesn't care. Only do it against like a Widow or a McCree or Soldier. Or
Yeah.
I guess a Zenyatta, depending on whether they're going for Center Master headshots.
Would it work on Hanzo or no?
It depends at what range you're at. If you're this range to the Hanzo, yeah, totally. If you're this range to the Hanzo, not really. It might, but most of the time
It's kind of like a gamble.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt because it doesn't slow you down too much. But most of the time, if he sees you crouch spamming at that distance, he'll just aim for your center mass and not go for the headshot. The way to do it against a Hanzo is if it's medium range. They've got a lever. If it's medium range, you strafe normally, and then you just like crouch before he shoots once, and then you don't want to crouch spam against a Hanzo or a Widow. Just like crouch occasionally.
So you're gonna notice here, what didn't really help my kind of gameplay was that the team started to get really tilted, because they were getting overconfident, and then we were starting to choke, and it kind of really affects things.
I mean, your team, as important as they are, you don't necessarily need them to be in the best of moods, because if you get one solid outplay, that stops an entire push, and then they've got time to recuperate. A lot of times, players tilt, and it's only temporary. As soon as they start doing well, they're going to untilt. So, like, if you can just keep a level... this is coming from me, who tilts really easily. If you can just keep a level head for even the shortest amount of time to get a solid play, that'll untilt the team. But again, okay, hang on. I gotta stop me right here. We'll start way back here. So, you're like 9-9 right now. Watch how long you spend just like diddling around.
come back. Killer's come back.
This entire time you're not contributing to the fight, and you're not, like, I would say, I always tell students you always need to be doing something, whether it's killing somebody, healing somebody, getting to a better position, or something in between. You always need to be doing something. But the key words there is, in your case, getting to a better position. And this isn't much of a better one because you just looped around. If you really wanted to flank this dude, like, you could have just gone, like, you could have gone around this way, like around, like if this is the center area, just go around the outside. Or, you know, you could have just engaged him from like his side another way. You went way too far around and committed way too much time to it. And you don't even have a way to guarantee you're getting value. It's really high commitment, not necessarily risk, but really high commitment for something that you're not really changing the outcome of by committing there, you know?
Yeah.
And like you've blinked around too while you're trying to creep around, so he heard those blinks. Like, blinks are really loud. So there's no point in crouching to slow you down and then blink to make it loud again. But right here, 2 blinks, 1 blink. Again, all of these.
Trying to bait out that flash.
Yeah, so baiting out flash is a little bit tricky. It's a lot of a mind game thing, but the key thing to remember is called kiting, which is just staying slightly out of the range of the flash and then going into that range occasionally to bait it. Blinking doesn't bait out a flash grenade because if I'm playing that McCree, right, and I've been playing against you all game, I will have very quickly realized, hey, this Tracer blinks all over the damn place, and I'll just count the blinks. I'll be like 1, 2, 3, and like right now, you've used a ton, and I know, okay, he's either out of blinks or he's got 1 left. So wait for that and flashbang you, or just wait for you to finish 1 blink and then flashbang you. Because if I'm playing this McCree, right? We'll wait for it.
Flash.
Right there, you're flashed. Like I heard you blink. At this point, I know you're not gonna double blink by going dink dink. So the time for you going dink dink, all of this is flashbang time. And notice how you're still in, like, flashbang's range, it seems surprisingly far. He could still probably hit you with it from here, and you're dead. If you stayed outside of that range, which we'll, for this purpose, assume is here, because you're kind of right on the edge there. If you stay, you got McCree. This is his flashbang range. If you stay here, he can't flashbang you at all. But if you dip in a little bit, he'll be like, oh, okay, and he might move forward and then try and flashbang you. But if you're just blinking like all over the place, he'll get you at any point after a blink. You know, he's not gonna try. It's not very often that he tries to flashbang you before you blink. If he does, he's a bad McCree and he'll probably only do it once before he figures out that doesn't work.
Here I actually heard the flash, which is why I kind of engaged.
Yeah. If you hear the flash, then you're more welcome to go in, because most of the time, like, as soon as he uses flash, the fight's a lot more in your favor. Okay, for the pulse bomb there, Hail Marys, you're not Sinatra. I'm not Sinatra. Only Sinatra. Only go for those sorts of Hail Marys if A, you have nothing to lose. It's like a 3v6, as in there's 3 levers on the other team, and you're just going for the BM. Okay, fine. Or it's like on somebody who's sleeping. Okay, fine. But like right here where it actually like really, like, this is a really crucial flash. Like, this can, everybody's in trance, so they think they're safe. And that's the best time to stick somebody because they think they're safe. Their positioning's terrible. They're all out in the open. They're all clumped up. They don't care. They're not paying attention to that right now. And you can stick them and they're going to die. You can also wait. We'll wait for it. You notice how Transcendence is ending right now? If you counted when it started, roughly, you can stick him while he's still in trance. And like as trance is ending, he'll blow up. You can practice the timing with that, like in a custom game.
I was gonna ask, because trans doesn't protect one shot. If they were grouped up on him while he was stuck, they would still die, right?
Correct. They would still die. Same with like a Junkrat tire or a Widow headshot.
Yeah.
But if he's coming out of trance like he is right now, and you stuck him while he was in trance, it's sort of like a Zarya bubble. If you stick the bubble and the bubble fades, then she'll still blow up. If you can, that's like GM level stuff and top 500 level stuff. If you get that down, then you'll be rolling people so hard because your pulse bombs will get so much value every single time. And because it's such a fast charging ult, if you're getting value out of your pulse bombs every like 30, 45 seconds, if you're getting them really quick, like, dude, one kill per pulse bomb, if you're getting them every 30 seconds, which is really fast, then you're already at 2 limbs a minute, which is like average for Tracer. limbs a minute, and it's just from your pulse bomb. It's so easy to get. It's so easy to get so much value out of it, but it's also so easy to totally whiff. Like, people don't value pulse bomb for how valuable it actually is. Depression. Depression gave up. Again, that was a blink. Nobody was looking at you. That Orisa didn't even know you existed. And now she does know you existed. And you're further away from her. And you're in a spot that's closer to where McCree's historically been. So, I wouldn't qualify that as a good blink. This one, however, like, what you're doing right now, this is kiting him. He can't flashbang you. See? Boom, right there. You see how he...
Yeah,
that's
good play.
That's how you bait... Here. That's how you bait out a McCree flashbang. Notice how you weren't blinking all over the place. Notice how you weren't barrel stuffing him. You were just right outside, and he thought he could flashbang you, but he couldn't. And then it's like, boom, he's dead. Like, that was so much easier than the fight in the close quarters clusterfuck of a hallway, you know? Like, it's so... As soon as you start playing smart with Tracer, like, even if you didn't do aim training at all, you didn't land any more pulse bombs, you didn't recall properly, if you just blink and kite people properly, you will do so much more work. A, because it's easier to aim at people when you're not barrel stuffing them. But B, just because stuff like this happens. And if you position and time everything properly on top of that, like, dude, you're golden. Like, see, now you're out of blinks, and it's like, you have to stop doing as much work. But if you still had those blinks, you'd be good. That looks like a little bit of overconfidence to me.
Yeah, that was just me being an asshole.
After the McCree kill, you're feeling good.
Yeah, I'm feeling good right there. I always do that. You should see me when, like, people try to BM me with, like, a solo ult. Like, I do that to them all the time, and I just straight teabag.
Okay, so did you blink before that? I think you did.
Yeah, that I realized I was balls deep, and then...
So, no, right there, that being that balls deep is actually okay, because A, you set your recall position to be a little bit behind payload, so you'll recall basically into your team. But there's Zen's alone. Like, look where Zenyatta is. Like, right here.
I don't know entirely what I was thinking. I think it was just reaction, because I realized the Sim was behind me.
Sim's not your biggest problem. Like, she's but getting... Like, you didn't get the one clip here. If you did kill this Zenyatta, you would basically stop this fight here. Like... You'd be surprised how much, like, players need their Zenyatta, because all he's doing is sitting here in the back uncontested, and if you kill him, they're like, whoa, hold up, and then they're going to stop. Either they're going to stop completely because they're like Platts Diamonds and they're going to wait for everybody to regroup before they push, or they're just going to carry on without their Zenyatta and they're going to be lacking healing and Discord and Orbs of Destruction or whatever they're called. He doesn't have trains, I don't think, but...
Yeah, I said I always wait for 6 to regroup. Is that a bad thing?
If you're like one of those dudes who's sitting outside of spawn hitting group up, yes, that's a bad thing.
Oops.
Yeah, okay. Like, grouping up is good, but when they say group up, it's not like you need all 6. A team fight is called a team fight because it involves both teams and generally the majority of both teams. But if you're missing a man, like if they're coming back from spawn, that's okay. Like, they can bring up the rear. But if they're like,
I'm talking about, like, because, like, a lot of the times teams, when we're like down to last push 30 seconds, they don't realize that we still have time, and like they constantly try to go in, and I'm just sitting there like, group up, don't go in yet.
Like, going in early is okay, but only if you're like Tracer or somebody like that. If you're playing like,
no, it's typically like Winston shit that goes in.
Well, Winston going in is like he's thinking he's initiating a dive, and sometimes that's actually what's happening. Sometimes he's just feeding. But if you see a Winston go in, it is your obligation to go in and help him, because if he goes in and feeds, that's a problem. But you can go in there and help him not feed. But like, if it's just you two, then the odds of you each feeding are a lot less likely. They're a lot less likely, actually, because...
Oh, really?
Like, if he's got the support of a Tracer, and you're... Like, if it's... Let's say it's Winston diving into a Zenyatta, a D.Va, and an Ana. Say it's like the scraps of a point. Say you got a few picks, something like that. He jumps in. He's going to die, right? Like, I don't know who... I don't actually remember what the 3 heroes I said were. I think it was like Ana, Zenyatta, or Ana... I don't know. Ana, Zenyatta, D.Va, I think. Something like that. That D.Va's not going to die. that Ana's going to be kept alive by the Zenyatta, and the Zenyatta is going to be kept alive by the Ana. That Winston's not going to do anything. But if you get in there with the Winston's focusing somebody, it doesn't really matter who, and you kill the Zenyatta, boom, now all of a sudden it's just Ana and the D.Va, and the Ana's torn between trying to sleep/nade you, or trying to nade and keep her D.Va alive. Like, she can't split, unless, you know, we're talking GM top 500, it's a lot more difficult for the Ana to split her attention properly. So you have basically, you've turned that dive into from a feed into a potential winning fight by just you showing up and killing the right people.
It's just something I'm hesitant to do because, you know, most of the times, you know, I'm not really that, I know I'm not really that good enough to sort of clutch a 2v6, and I'm always really hesitant.
Clutching a 2v6 is not what I'm not talking about clutching a 2v6. I'm talking about taking I'm talking about taking a 1v3 and turning it into a 2v3. Like because the Winston diving into a team, if he's diving into all 6, that's a feed and that Winston's bad. But if he's actually diving into 3, which is an optimistic dive, if it's just him, you can make that optimistic dive turn into something that's winnable, you know?
Alrighty.
2v6 clutching, if you decide to take
that's
that 2v6.
That's typically what happens, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen any examples of it in this VOD where, like, you could, I don't know. We've kind of derailed a bit. I don't really even know what I'm talking about anymore. But anyway.
It was about the Winston going in and then assisting him.
Yeah, but basically, if you're going in with somebody, help them out. You don't, oh, it's about the whole regrouping. You don't need a full group of 6. If you're missing a DPS, that's fine. If you're missing your main tank, that's not as fine. It all depends on the situation. That's why pressing tab is important, because you can see, like, whether the enemies are dead, whether they're respawning, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, you totally could have killed that Zen. Totally could have helped win this fight. Interesting coalescence. Whatever.
I don't know what Platinums are doing, man.
Yeah. I don't know what you're doing either. See, like, right now that you... See? Wait for it. I'm going to wait for the team fight to play out before I say what I'm about to say. Okay, so that played out now. Notice how I said, if you're not the only thing the enemy team's dealing with, you're going to be doing a lot better.
Yeah.
That's exactly what just happened there. Notice how we'll point out everything as it goes, or as best as we can tell. Moira's coalescing. Winston jumps into the team of like 3. Notice how it's Zenyatta. An Ana grenade goes off, and there's an Orisa right there. It's literally the thing we were just talking about.
Oh my god.
But replace D.Va with Orisa, and now all of a sudden, your Winston goes from potentially feeding to, hey look, you killed their Zenyatta, their Ana's dead. Hey look, now you killed the Orisa, your whole team moves in. Bada bing, bada boom, holy shit. It's almost like what I just said is what happens a lot.
Be careful, guys. You're really far percent.
Yeah, here's where I saw my pulse, and I wasn't really sure what Winston was doing.
Everybody's playing real aggressive right now. I wouldn't use pulse right now because, like, you could get an easy spawn pick, but, like, I mean, A, you didn't know you were going to stick anybody there. But B, if you did kill him, that resets for, like, all of about a respawn time, and then he's back. You don't really get the benefit of them investing anything. You're investing stuff in the hopes of killing them, but they have nothing to lose right now other than a little bit of time. But if you just stood there and pressured them in spawn, that's good. You've already got the pressure going. You don't need to invest your ults in it.
We're okay.
It'd be like Roadhog ulting outside their spawn. It's like, dude, you didn't really... Oh, recall. Oh, recall. Oh, no. Okay, see, now you're...
I wanted to save resources.
Save resources, but now you're way back super deep, and now you have to come in from behind, which is generally a scary thing to do because it's harder to time with your team, like just instinctually. Oh, God, the blinks. Okay, when you've gone on a super long flank like this, don't poke on the shifting Orisa from outer space, because that does probably after a clip about 5 damage to her, and you've now revealed by both audio cues and visual cues that you are up here, and that's the advantage that you had from flanking all that time is now gone. Oof. So, you know, if you've got that super long flank, at least make use of it as best you can. So, like, see right now, you're still on this really long flank. Your team is now dead, like pretty much all of it. This is now a lost fight. But I'm guessing you're going to try and go in and commit more to it when you don't need to.
No. I noticed my team was dead here,
okay,
and
good.
I was just kind of really getting some like cheeky pokes, and then I was gonna get out. It was It was semi-commitment. All right, semi.
The semi-commitment, yeah. If you kill the
Semi.
Zenyatta, it would be value. If you kill the Zenyatta, I'd qualify that as good because you picked their support right as like a crucial fight's about to happen. That's good. Go for it. But a lot of me is thinking that you're not going to get him, and then you're going to go even deeper. And see, now you're in the situation where you're sandwiched behind everybody. Like, you want to be in the cream of the Oreo, not like in the cookie of the Oreo, you know? Again, using a ton of extra blinks. You absolutely don't need to. It's a little hard to see, but all I can tell is the only important thing that I can see is that you're blinking and you don't need to be. Again, that blink, you walked forward, blinked back, and walked forward again.
Yeah, that was, I don't know what that was.
Ooh, that was actually a clean stick.
Thank you. I try.
Did you melee there before you recalled? I couldn't.
I couldn't tell either.
I'm gonna listen for the I'm gonna listen for the audio.
No.
Okay, yeah. Whenever you recall, just get in the habit of meleeing. Like when you're first trying to get in that habit, melee every single time you recall. Even if you're like, pretend you're right here and you need to recall, just melee before you do it. Just get in that habit all the time so that when you're in combat, it's second nature. And then like it's just free damage. Oh, the engage. Oh, the no recall. Oh, the no blinks. Oh,
The wiggle.
the wiggle. There we go. We finally got it. Check it off the bucket list.
It's
Again,
just a long game.
like right here. Oh my god, you're right. Is this like a 4-rounder or something?
Yeah, it's 27 minutes, dude.
Oh my god, no wonder you asked if we had time.
I said that's why do you think I asked?
Dude, I don't know. I know I talk a lot, but don't worry, it'll slow down more like once we get to like year 7 of the VOD, because at one point I'll have said pretty much everything that I can say. I'll just be repeating myself.
NA coach doesn't check time.
Dude, you think I check? A lot of the times I'll get VODs that like students record and there's like 10 minutes in the beginning and end of like just nothing. So like they're not even that reliable all the time.
Honor. Juicy. Like it right click.
Get right click, get fanned, get super hard trickled. Oh my god. It's one of those games. You totally could have won that, by the way, if you didn't go on your super long
In this
flank.
one, don't laugh at me for this.
Oh, dude, are you gonna fall off the map?
No, but I was hesitant to do it, and I know I used all my resources on it. I was just like, can I make that?
Here, I'm gonna be defending from right here.
Making that's actually fine, but being this far away from the door is like, you might as well be up by this box. Again, so right here, you've used 2 blinks, now all 3, to go from one location to another, right? From right here, they don't know you're here. They still don't know you're here. They still might not even know you're here at this point, right? You've now finished both blinks. You're right in front of them. Right behind them, I should say. And you could have gotten here by just walking. Maybe with 1 blink in there in the beginning, just so you can get it back. But now that you've invested 2, you need to get this pick. The more blinks you invest into engaging, the more pressure you're putting on yourself to get the pick that you actually need, because you don't have the extra blinks to like survive longer if you don't get the pick initially. Like if you use all 3 blinks, you need to get the 1 clip. If you use 2 blinks, you've got like 1 clip, 1.5 clips in melee. It depends. And if you use like 1 blink, then you've got all the time in the world. It's like exponential, right? You've got 1 clip, you got 1 or 2, then you got infinite. And then if you engage with 3 blinks, dude, the world's your oyster, right? So here you've just put yourself in a super limited scope. Like now, oh, you use recall too? All in the last blink? Nice. All of it's in. Again, into the sim. Since they have a sim, you need to be much more careful with your super aggressive blinking, because, you know, they'll kill you instantly. Like super instant. So check all the time where you're blinking into, where you think the sim turrets might be. She's got them on payload now, so expect them to still be on payload, or at least be around it.
Yeah.
Double shield is fucking pointless. I don't know why we did that.
Double shield's pointless. Okay. Okay, buddy. I mean, against this comp, kind of. Like, again, you're on the flank right now. The enemy team will go a little bit back. Notice how nobody's around right now. Like, your team is just back
Yeah,
there.
that
There's
was
like
bad awareness.
that. Yeah, that's all you've got to work with. So your only ally is your Ana, who's now dead, who is also super deep behind them. It's like your team was waiting right there for you to regroup, but you were split too, so it was a 2-2 split front rear. You've become the cookie of the Oreo, and that's not what you want.
I feel bad because you're really gonna have to write a 50 pages.
Oh, dude, it takes up 2 or 3 Discord messages usually.
Oh my. I mean, I'm glad. I respect you for actually doing that. Okay, listen. That I can't explain.
I was listening. I was hoping for some 9
I
IQ.
had no explanation. I had no.
You baited the Symmetra ball. That's we'll say that's what it was.
Yeah. At least there was some logic behind
Sure.
it. Some.
Yeah.
Some.
Again,
Takes Mega when he's down 20. Oh my god.
goes in with the sim turrets that you know are still there, but doesn't deal with. Doesn't kite
Okay.
payload.
Dude,
Kiting
you're
a
gonna
payload
notice-
is the same thing as kiting, everything else. Oh,
That was an accident. I was like, oh shit.
okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, am I coaching your Doomfist now too?
Oh my god. Dude, the day you start coaching my Doomfist is the day you leave me on day 1. Like, dude, my Doomfist is trash. I only play it when I'm like bored.
See, now they're like, okay, we gotta take the 6-man team fight. Gets picked. Oh, we gotta take the 6-man team fight again. It's like, no. See your Winston went in?
Dude,
Oh, okay. That's a lot of ults on their part. Sick? Oh,
I don't know what the enemy team was doing here, honestly.
your dash into them was a little hyper aggressive, because I don't think you had an end pick in mind. Dashing through an entire team to tag them all for dash resets is a decent practice, but only if you know you can get another dash to dash back through over and over and over with.
Yeah, we're not trying to play slots here.
Yeah. Like, you guys can totally win this. The problem is that they're really entrenched, and you're not getting, like, a crucial pick. If you get a crucial pick on their Zen, boom, done. Pick their Ana, boom, done. Like, you dash out, you could have dashed in, just as long as you avoided the payload that'll just sim turret you down. Like, what was that high noon? They're wasting so many ults. You guys could totally take this. Like, they've gotten so much free push.
Dude, okay, you're gonna notice later. I type in match chat, I'm hesitant to upload this.
Why did you go all the way back and then not commit anything?
Because I wanted to wait for team.
But you don't need to go back to wait for him. You can still be in a good position. Now you just reset any positional advantage you'd have. Like, waiting.
Yeah, a lot of this was misjudgment because the team was getting tilted and then I was getting annoyed. And it's not like an excuse, but it's something that happened.
That turret wasn't your first priority, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I just saw it and I knew I was going to forget it if I didn't.
Okay, they finally got off. When you're doing stuff like that, when you're poking and you're gonna engage, manage your reloads. You had to reload like 2 or 3 times there because you canceled it so many times. You want to reload when you want to reload. You don't want to get low and then be forced to, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you fixed it with Blade, but like still.
This is where I said I typed.
If you're paying to coach, if you're paying to coach up, you're doing it wrong. It's a game, dude. If that's the mindset he wants to have, he's gonna be in plat for absolutely forever. Like,
Not paying 75 euros to get a
oh
fucking
god, no, that's
session.
way too much. But like,
Jesus.
it's like, how are you gonna learn to play the piano? Like, yes, you can teach yourself, but dude, if you get like a piano instructor, you're gonna be doing so much better. Like, there's a reason there's people who do it for like instruments and sports for a job, because it's viable and people want it. Like, even now, as esports is like a blossoming thing, there's still like paid coaches. Like, even like if you're not like Arrow or whatever, you can still do like professional paid coaching. Like, it's totally cool. It's totally viable. This dude's just ignorant. So this is a better flank. You didn't spend 1,000 years on it. Starting off with the Orisa as your pick of choice is not ideal. However, you made it work by dashing.
I couldn't
through to
wall
get the
climb
Mercy.
this and I was upset.
One thing I've noticed on your Genji is that you don't reload, or not reload, you don't melee more than you have to for the most part. Like, you're not one of those Genjis that just melees constantly, which is good. Meleeing, you want to
First
save for a
compliment
final
of the
blow.
VOD.
No, we got the good kite.
That was it.
And like saying that going around the side you were going wasn't the entirely wrong thing to do. You know, if I spent the whole VOD complimenting you, we wouldn't really get anywhere.
That is very true.
I do my compliments by being critical, but also by not being super harsh. Like, if I were IOStux, I'd just call you a piece of shit trash player all the time, but still give you really good information.
No, it's funny. That was the person I was talking about, the 75 euros.
Yeah. Like, if I was...
That was exactly the person.
If I was your Overwatch, I would say you're a god player, still call you shit,
Your
and give you absolutely
Dude,
no.
your Overwatch is a meme, though.
I had never watched one of their coaching VODs until somebody said I should, and I watched one, and they were coaching this Tracer on
I'm gonna be harsh at him. Yeah, I should be.
He's like, I'm gonna be harsh. And he's like, oh, your blinks are good, your reloads are good. Honestly, I don't know what's going on.
Dude.
It's like, dude, that's the shittiest VOD review I've ever seen in my life.
Gets copy striked by your Overwatch.
Dude, whatever. God.
Dude, you know, there's like plenty of clips of them like, yeah, they dropped a diamond. Yeah, we should be DM.
Dude, yeah, honestly, it's one of those, like, I'd rather pay IOStux 75 euros an hour per session or whatever than have your Overwatch review 100 of my VODs for free.
Okay. Here's when
here's when an overcommit happens. However, you did get trance out, which is good. There's not really... You cleared trance for not much else. I guess for Grav. Like, was she close to Grav? I wasn't paying attention. I just saw that you had a Zarya. Yeah, see, boom. Whether you meant to or not, you have cleared trance for Grav. Like, Grav Bastion
it was just
something.
kind of like, I saw them grouped up. Let's go in 1v6.
So the technique for that, by the way, when you see a damage-boosted Bastion, is to not dive in with your dash or dive in with your blade. You just fall in normally or walk in normally with as many like right clicks and left clicks as you can, and then deflect the Bastion back at his mercy pocket and then dash through him to get behind him and get a free crit on him, and then just kill him normally. And then boom, you've killed 2 people. Then you can blade and kill everybody else because their support's down and their main DPS is down.
Yeah, hang on, really quick though. Hang on, can you go back to where I was diving the Bastion? Okay, this right here is why I posted that on the forums. Like if you notice here where the damage is like, okay, start playing it. Like, you notice here, like, if Genji had that damage boost consistency, that would have been so much better with, like, dealing that Bastion.
He was in trance, he wouldn't have died anyway.
I know, but the damage boost, it still would have helped.
If you put it back at the mercy, you might have been able to kill her.
That's why I'm suggesting, like, he needs some consistency changes with how the reflect works, because I don't feel like the calculation should favor the damage boosting Bastion over the Genji. I don't know.
I mean, the idea that Genji deflects the damage boost back at people makes sense to me, but from a gameplay standpoint, Genji's not being damage boosted, so like, you know, the game would have to track like, because at the time, like if you're being damage boosted as Pharah and you shoot a rocket and then you're healed, that rocket doesn't deal extra damage. If you shoot a rocket and your mercy switches to damage boost right before it explodes, it deals more damage. So
it's also possible to, if you damage boost Baby Diva, her bomb gets more damage off.
Yeah, but the point is that the game isn't gonna track whether every bullet is being damage boosted or not. Like think if Mercy was doing the spam between left and right click, going like choo 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 like that. The game's not gonna track which singular bullet has damage boost and which singular bullet doesn't. So it's a lot of extra effort to go through.
I feel like it makes sense if, like, you know, Zarya bubble gets more power off of damage boosted bullet and everything else, and we just have Genji here being inconsistent. And I'm not gonna throw shade, but if there's something I know about Blizzard is they struggle to code shit, so I doubt it would happen. But
I don't think they struggle to code anything. I just think it's.
You know how long it took them to actually figure out Baby Diva, though?
What do you mean by figure out Baby Diva?
It took them dude, they struggled. I don't know if you heard it. They struggled a lot with, like, coding Baby Diva because it was basically 2 characters and they took them a while.
I don't know if you've ever done any coding, but having one character die and then shit out another playable character while feeling seamless and changing ability, like, there's a reason for, like, a lot of different things, and that is really hard to do. Like, it's hard to get, Google Sheets to calculate a basic, like, column matrix multiplication thing. It's hard to get that to work right, and that's just literal equations, let alone actually coding something like this from scratch. It's difficult. Like they could definitely make it so the damage boosting works, but it's a lot of extra effort for a situation that basically only shows up with damage boosted Mercy on Bastion on Genji. So it's like, you know,
Still would be nice for consistency. We just hardcore digressed, but I just wanted to bring that up.
yeah, no, it's fine. There's a lot of ramblings that go into my sessions. The more repeat students I have, the shorter our sessions get because we ramble more, but there's like less for me to say. And when I do say stuff, it's more concise because the student like already knows what's going on.
Yeah, I like that. I like that atmosphere when you kind of talk about shit.
Yeah. See that Tracer? Notice how you could all just turn on her and have no problem. Easy peasy. Don't be that Tracer.
Oh.
6 to 5.
Yeah.
Jesus. Actually, we'll pause it on the victory screen with all 3 people.
No. Yeah. That.
Okay. So, is there anything I brought up that you want me to clarify more of or explain in a better way at all?
So some things that didn't really fully go to my head was the idea, because the maps are all different and everything, and it's hard to judge when I should long flank or short flank. Like, you covered a lot of that of how I was constantly going on long flanks, but Junkertown, it felt like very condensed, so I didn't know how I was supposed to shorten that flank. Like you did give me some like options, but it's not really something that would have instantly gone to my head because it wasn't like, right there. It wasn't obvious. I didn't feel like it was obvious.
Yeah, a lot of Junkertown has some very linear spots and some very open spots. Like point 2 right here is pretty linear at some parts, but also super open in others. And then even point 1. Point 1's the most open. Point 3 is probably the most linear, and just like gets more linear the more you go. But in general, if there's a little doorway, like right here, just, even if you, like, we'll get that back up. Junker. Like, even if you're going around through a little area here, you don't necessarily even need to do that. You can just come straight through there from spawn, or, if you're, say payload's here, enemy team's here, you're pushing forward, right? You can come from spawn, go up onto this little balcony thing, go through this window, and then go up over to here. That's not a very long flank because your normal trajectory would just be to get to payload, assuming that's your default. So all you deviated was a tiny bit to get to up here, which is a considerably better spot than to be equally just right below it,
Yeah, and for more condensed maps for attacker's side, like, I don't know if I want to say like Eichenwald first point, but that seems really condensed. Like, what would I really do to flank there? Like, generally, like, is there anything like I can sort of like kind of like repeat to myself when there's like okay, let's say I'm on like King's Row, like should I go for this flank or should I go for this flank? Because a lot of the times in the moments I'm not really processing what's a short and what's a long flank because it's all dependent on the like team and everything.
If you're ever at the point where you can like think to yourself, man, it's been a while since I've shot anybody, that's kind of a problem. What you should generally do is, if you're engaged, like say payload's there, your team's here, enemy team's here, whatever, right? They're holding around this corner. If you are on payload right here, you don't ever want to go like back, around, and up anywhere. You want to just integrate it naturally into what you're doing. So you want to be like, okay, you're on payload, just go back up over here and around. That's more okay. But if you think about how much like distance and time you invested doing that, you might as well go for all the way around up top to get somebody way in the back, like a Zenyatta, for example, than it would be to get their Zarya or whatever that's here. So if you do, the longer of a flank you go for, the more value you have to get out of it. If you want to go for a flank where it's like you start at the same spot and go all the way around, and stick somebody like here, you better get like a 2-man pulse bomb at least, because that's a ton of time. Or you can just, the biggest thing to do with Tracer is, for this example, right? Pretend payload's still there. Say it moves forward a bit. Your team's here. Enemy team's here. Just take little tiny like peel offs, because that's technically a flank. you've gone from being in front of them. We'll change to a different color so you can actually see stuff. From being in front of them to being behind them. That's actually a worse color. But you know, as long as you're breaking line of sight or you're being somewhere else, you just don't want to be in the same spot all the time. If you're flanking super far all the time, that's a problem. If you're taking like just the straight payload path, that's a problem. But it's better to be like, you remember when you dived with Winston on the Zenyatta and the Ana and the Orisa?
Yeah, I remember.
Right there, you didn't go on a flank, but you just engaged. You need to be doing lots of engagements because that's what Tracer's good at. She's good at close quarters-ish combat and dealing with people in a one like step at a time manner. It's like if you've got like Zenyatta, Ana, and Orisa, right? You can't deal with all three at once, like, you know, a Hanzo Dragon Strike Grav combo could, but you kill the Zen, easy, then you kill the Ana, easy, then you kill the Orisa, easy, one by one. And you don't necessarily need to do a big flank to get that. You can just go like blink, kill him, and then blink, kill her, blink, kill her eventually. Stuff like that.
Alrighty, thanks for that. One more thing though.
Mhm.
While you derate the notes, can you like put like exaggerated portion of like sort of strafing? Because like you tell me like, you know, ADA,
Mhm.
but like that's very simple. Like because like strafing is kind of like really foreign to me because I've always been used to kind of, you know, relying on double jump for my abilities. Like could you like maybe like give me like a list of like more like maybe unpredictable like things for me to like sort of branch off of and maybe figure out my own, if that makes sense.
What I won't do is tell you like A insert time here, D insert time here. I won't give you that. But what I will do is just give you like general pointers. What I can do is, what I'll probably end up doing is recording a little GIF of a few basic strafing types, and you can incorporate it as necessary. As long as you're strafing left and right, then you're doing better than you're currently doing. And the more you start strafing left and right, the more you can start figuring out what strafes work well against certain heroes. And then once you figure out that even more, you can figure out what strafes work well against certain players. Like in a game, I can figure like, well, is this Widow really good at doming me if I hold still? Is she a Widow like me where I can't hit anybody standing still? Like that's all something that you can eventually start to figure out. But it all starts with just 80 strafing. If I give you like A, D, 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 A, A, S, W, jump, crouch, like if I give you that and you try and memorize that, you're going to be putting way too much effort into it. It's like I can tell when a Genji has watched like a Your Overwatch video or an Overwatch Curious video or whatever, and they're just trying to like, okay, what do I got to do? I got to right click, I got to dash, I got to melee, then I got to right click, then I got to deflect. It's like, no, just do what you need to do. Don't memorize predetermined combos. There's some that work well. Like for Genji, if you take that, like the common combo that like streamers say is, oh, right click, dash, melee. Like if you take that, which I don't even think is correct, you've got the right click melee or like the right click dash, that's a combo. And then you should insert at the end a right click melee combo. That's two separate combos that you decide to use in a certain situation. Same thing for strafing, you know. You can do something to dodge one particular thing, change it up as needed.
Alrighty, thank you, dude.
No problem.
Appreciate this session.
Yeah, it's still on stream, so it's a little like weird. I don't know how I'm gonna transition. I've got another student in half an hour. I don't know if I want to start another stream or just like sit in the training range for half an hour. I don't know. I'm actually looking at chat now, by the way. So if you guys want to say what you'd prefer me do, I'm open to that. But
and as far as I don't know, like when you think you'll be able to get the notes to me, because I want to like review those and then record another VOD eventually.
What I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably end up stopping the stream so that you can have this VOD and then starting it up again for the next student. And then during that downtime is probably when I'll type up the notes so it's still fresh.
Alrighty, thanks, dude.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Feel free to DM me anytime if you've got any questions or if you want another session, anything like that.
Oh yeah, how do I do the review thing? Because I've noticed like
Yeah, the best way to do it is the ones in the Discord channel are screenshots from our old site, but our site's having like some issues right now. So if you just want to do what ETH did and just type in there, you've got permissions to now. So
alrighty,
you can do that whenever you want. I appreciate it.
Alright, thanks, man.
No problem. Have a good one.
Peace. You something that might help me is I doubt it, but if maybe like for me to get kind of like used to more of strafing, because with my elo, I can get away with not strafing, and that's kind of a bad habit.
Mhm.
And so if you ever want to I don't know, I doubt it if you would, but get on maybe your main or your another GM account where I can practice against more high ranked players, so I get in the habit of strafing.
Oh, you'll just get shit on, and then you're gonna feel
I
bad because you're
know.
gonna have so much to work on. What I will offer though, that'll be basically the same as that, but actually better in pretty much every single way is, you have one of my accounts added. If you want, we can just hop in a custom game, and I can just strafe against you, and you can practice aiming against that, and
That'd be perfect.
vice versa. I can just show you cool little tips and tricks for it.
I don't know. They say getting rolled helps. I don't know if I fully believe that, but I
Getting
mean,
rolled,
yeah,
dude. There's so much that you'd have to be focusing on that I guarantee you wouldn't hop into a GM game and be like, okay, strafing. You'd be like, oh my god, oh my god.
oh my god, what do I do? I'm dying.
Mhm.
I was dying as soon as I walk out of
Do I
spawn.
do I engage? Do I wait for the full team? Do I yeah? You'd be racked with that. So maybe, but the answer is pretty much just no.
Worth a shot, you know. All right, I'll stop holding you up. See ya.
See ya, man. Alrighty, so I'm gonna end this one. I've got another student in 26 minutes. I'll send another notification if you guys actually have notifications turned on. Lol. But in the meantime, just chill. I guess if you're actually gonna wait around for it, that'd be surprising. But if not, actually, let me double check what the VOD is real quick so I can tell you guys what you're in for. It is a Diamond Anna VOD. So for any of you guys who want to see me coach an Anna, go for it. Hey, it's Master. Yeah. If you want to just hop in, I'll just keep this as one consistent stream. Actually, no, I'm going to have to end it at some point just so I can swap over the Mayhem stuff. But this is what it looks like, by the way, for everybody if I keep it open. But it's no biggie. We'll end this one. We'll start the next one. We should be good to go. Hey, we got a casual slayer. Sweet, you got the notification. Anyway, we will be back up in a few minutes.